It's 2 years ago. I'm 27, living in Chicago, and my entire family, mom, dad, 3 nosy aunts, and my little sister who thinks she's my life coach, is blowing up my phone every single day. When are you bringing someone home for Thanksgiving? You're not getting any younger. Is there a guy yet, or are you still focusing on your career? The pressure was insane. I'd been single for over a year after a brutal breakup, and honestly, I just wanted them off my back for one holiday season. So, in a moment of pure panic, I did something ridiculous. I texted the group chat. Guys, I'm seeing someone. His name is Ethan. He's amazing. We'll try to make it home for Thanksgiving. Boom. Lie launched. The problem? There was no Ethan. I figured I'd just say we broke up right after the holiday. Easy. No harm, no foul. But my sister, oh God, my sister, immediately demanded proof. Send a pic. What does he do? Where'd you meet? I scrambled. I scrolled through my contacts like my life depended on it. Landed on a guy I'd met maybe 3 times through mutual friends at a rooftop bar last summer. Ethan. Real name, real guy, 0 romantic history. Tall, funny in that dry way, works in graphic design, always had this quiet confidence that made people listen when he talked. I hadn't thought about him in months. I shot him a message out of nowhere. Hey Ethan, random question. Would you be willing to pretend to be my boyfriend for like one family dinner? I'll pay for your flight, food, everything. I'm desperate. They won't stop asking. I hit send expecting radio silence or a polite no. Instead, 3 minutes later. LOL. How desperate are we talking? And what's the backstory I need to sell? I stared at my phone. He was actually considering it. We hopped on a quick call that night. I spilled the whole embarrassing plan. He laughed, nodded with me, and said, All right, I'm in. But if I'm flying to wherever your family is, we're making this convincing. No half-assing. I laughed too hard. Something about his voice, calm but playful, made my stomach flip in a way I wasn't expecting. Fast forward to the week before Thanksgiving. We texted constantly to get our story straight. Favorite movies. We both love old school Tarantino. How we met. Mutual friends at that bar. Our first date. Coffee that turned into a 3-hour walk. The more we talked, the more natural it felt. He sent me memes at 2 a.m. I sent him playlists. I caught myself smiling at my phone like an idiot. Then came the airport pickup. I was nervous as hell. What if it was awkward in person? What if he was totally different from what I remembered? He walked out in a dark jacket, backpack slung over one shoulder, spotted me, and gave this slow, genuine grin. Hey, girlfriend, he said, pulling me into a hug that lasted maybe 2 seconds too long. My heart slammed against my ribs. The drive to my parents' house was easy. Too easy. We talked the whole way like we'd been doing it for years. By the time we pulled up, my palms were sweaty for a completely different reason. Thanksgiving dinner was chaos in the best way. My family adored him. He charmed my dad with sports talk, helped my mom in the kitchen without being asked, teased my sister just enough to make her laugh. At one point, my aunt leaned over and whispered, This one's a keeper, honey. I looked across the table at Ethan, who caught my eye and winked. My face burned. That night, after everyone went to bed, we ended up on the back porch under the stars, sharing a blanket because it was freezing. Neither of us said much at first. Then he turned to me. So, this fake thing. It doesn't feel very fake right now, does it? I swallowed. No, it really doesn't. He reached over, brushed a strand of hair off my face, and kissed me. Soft at first, then deeper, like he'd been waiting months to do it. When we pulled apart, he rested his forehead against mine. I didn't agree to this because I felt sorry for you, he said quietly. I agreed because I've thought about you since that bar. I just never had the guts to say anything. I laughed shaky. You're telling me I invented a fake boyfriend and accidentally manifested a real one? Pretty much. We didn't break up after Thanksgiving. Instead, we kept the story going because it wasn't a story anymore. It was us. Real dates, real late-night talks, real falling so hard I still get dizzy thinking about it. Now, almost 2 years later, we're planning our own trip home for the holidays. Together. For real. My family still thinks it all started at that rooftop bar. They have no idea the whole thing began with one panicked text and the biggest, best lie I ever told. Sometimes, the best love stories don't start with sparks. They start with a ridiculous plan, and someone brave enough to say yes anyway. And yeah, I still can't believe I get to call him mine. After that porch kiss under the stars, everything shifted fast, but not in a dramatic, movie montage way. It was quieter, sweeter. The next morning, Thanksgiving leftovers still everywhere, my mom pulled me aside in the kitchen while Ethan was outside tossing a football with my dad and cousins. She had that knowing mom look. Honey, he's wonderful. But are you sure this is new? Because the way you two look at each other, it feels like you've been together longer than a few months. I almost choked on my coffee. I mumbled something about love at first sight and changed the subject, but inside I was panicking, in a good way. We hadn't even defined what we were yet, and my family was already planning our wedding colors. We flew back to Chicago on Sunday. The whole plane ride, we held hands under the armrest like it was the most natural thing. He leaned over halfway through and whispered, So are we doing this for real? Because I don't want to fake break up just to start dating you next week. I laughed so loud the lady in front turned around. Yeah, I said. Let's do real. The first few weeks were surreal. We'd text good morning like we always had during our prep phase, but now it came with heart emojis and miss you already, even though we'd just seen each other. Our first official date was low-key, pizza at his place, watching Pulp Fiction because we'd both claimed it as our movie in the fake backstory. Halfway through, he paused it, looked at me seriously, and said, I need to confess something. I've had a crush on you since that rooftop bar. I just figured you were out of my league. I stared. You're kidding. I thought you were the cool, quiet one who never noticed anyone. We both cracked up. Turns out, we'd both been orbiting each other for years through friends, too shy or timing wrong to make a move. The fake boyfriend plan was basically fate's hilarious workaround. Telling my family the truth never really happened, at least not the full version. When Christmas rolled around, we just showed up together again, no explanation needed. My sister cornered me later. Okay, Spill. You two are disgustingly in love. When did it actually start? I grinned and said, Thanksgiving. She rolled her eyes like, duh, never suspecting the lie underneath. Fast forward, we moved in together about 8 months later. Ethan proposed last fall, on that same back porch at my parents' house during a surprise weekend visit. He got down on one knee with my grandma's ring. He'd asked my dad for permission weeks earlier to sneak. I said yes before he even finished asking. My family lost their minds. Happy tears, champagne, the works. Now we're planning the wedding for next summer. Small, backyard, Chicago vibes with a nod to that first Thanksgiving chaos. My sister's maid of honor speech is already half written, and she keeps joking she'll reveal the real origin story if I don't behave. She won't. She thinks we met organically at the bar. Looking back, that one desperate text was the best mistake I ever made. It forced me to reach out, to be vulnerable, to let someone in when I was scared to. And Ethan? He says he's grateful for my family's nagging. It gave him the opening he'd been too chicken to create himself. Moral of the story? Sometimes the universe needs you to fake it, until the feelings catch up and make it beautifully, undeniably real. If you want even more, like the proposal details, what our first fight was, or how we handle family holidays now, just say the word. Smiling face with smiley eyes.